Peace be upon you. So we have a question from Baron. Is Vajrayogini practice about transforming ordinary conceptions, and would this be a correct way to practice? This week I came across some people who were a bit rough and had anger in their hearts. A natural response feels like it would be to judge or bring some idea that I know and I'm sure of what they are experiencing inside. That is a limited, painful sense of self. But when I questioned my belief and certainty of that idea, I felt I could not find any basis for that being true. So I thought maybe they are enlightened emanations perfectly displaying having clarity of mind and sharp wisdom. I also couldn't know for sure if that's what they are or are perceiving, but it helped change my perception on them into more love and reference. Is the practice to project an image that's closer to actual reality until you genuinely start to perceive more of what's really there. So that's exactly what the practice is. It's a different way. Some people use the word advanced technology of understanding that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. The basics of the Dharma, that happiness is a state of mind. And in order to be happy, we don't change the external circumstances, we change our mind. It doesn't mean we don't engage with external circumstances, but we understand. The real refuge is the Dharma. That is states of mind in harmony with the way of things and the instructions that lead you to that state. That's refuge. That's what we go for refuge to. So we don't go for refuge in defensive words against these rough people, which many people will go for refuge to defensive words, or refuge to another group of people who might protect you, or refuge to the police. We go for refuge to our own mind and the Dharma to transform it in order to change our perception of what is there. We understand very well that as our mind changes throughout the day, our perception of our partner or our friends change throughout the day as our mind changes. And it can take some time just to understand that our friend is now appearing annoying to us because our mind has changed. They might be doing exactly the same action that they do every evening, but now we've got anger in the mind. We've got annoyance, we had a hard day at work. And then we think it appears to us that it's that person who has those qualities. This is ignorance. That feeling that that person has those qualities and we've just come into contact with them, and due to their qualities they're affecting our happiness. The Dharma understanding is our mind has changed. We're in a delusional state of mind, a mind not conducive to happiness, love, wisdom, contentment, and it projects onto that person those qualities. The person then appears to be unpleasant and we want to avoid them. And Dharma practitioner is someone who understands, I need to change my mind. then it's how do I change my mind? And that's what all the practices are for. That's what all this studying is for. As we study, our mind is slowly changing. It's slowly getting to grips with this knowledge. The knowledge itself is very simple, but ignorance is deep, as in the habituated pattern that we immediately think this person is causing me unhappiness, or this thing is causing me unhappiness. And it's not to do with my mind. As we start the path, we realize how disturbed our mind is, and that it's our disturbed mind that we take everywhere and causes trouble wherever it goes. No, we don't go into the extreme that many people may go to and think that there's nothing out there at all. It's the quality of the mind that we bring to life that affects it. It's how, it's like said, if you're wearing red tints on your glasses, the world will appear red. So it says in the Book of Love, I don't know the exact words, some people get into exact words, but Allah says, I will be as you perceive me to be. So the sadhana, what we're doing, is the technology to understand that. It's going very deep into that practice. That eventually we want to go into the third quality of Islam: surrender, submission to God, to the complete isness, and that's perceiving the divine presence directly. So it's not seeing ordinary things as ordinary. It's not seeing things based on the projection of your own mind that's delusional. You're feeling the presence of God in your heart. That's how you draw nearer to God. It's in your heart. So as you experience directly, the initial habitual impulse is to think these person are horrible and angry. You change your mind and you think, well, maybe they're enlightened beings. And as you change your mind, this is the important thing, the appearance of them changes. Notice this. They appear suddenly, instead of being completely unpleasant, they may appear challenging, but not unpleasant. Or different variations. When you don't work on your mind, and you're just perceiving them as angry, then they are angry, and that's what they are for you. When we understand emptiness, we're not denying that that's your experience of reality. Some angry, unpleasant men. Because reality depends on your mind. Then, because you're conceiving them that way, they are appearing that way. And then the laws of life that are infinite will kick into place of how angry people are, how angry people relate to you, how anger begets anger, and then you enter the world of karma. Karma is law of cause and effect. And you enter into a delusional space where you create more karma. And a deepening habit of that mind to think that the people out there are actually as I'm perceiving them, and it has nothing to do with the perceiver. The first step is changing the conception. When you change the conception, the appearance changes. If you have a loving conception of your partner, that this is your, let's say in a moment you're experiencing, this is my soulmate, and that's how you're conceiving. not just pretending conceiving, not just like thinking words, but you're actually conceiving them as someone like everyone else. And then you're just trying to conceive that this is your soulmate. There's different levels of those conceptions, right? You're conceiving, you're feeling. And think about you're feeling that this is my soulmate. How do they appear to you? When you fall in love, how does the person appear? They appear utterly beautiful. When you're frustrated with your partner, when you're angry, how are they appearing to you? In those moments, they can appear ugly to you. This is the absolute core, fundamental practice, understanding of what ignorance is. And emptiness will go deeper into the mechanics of it. Emptiness is the understanding. They're not independent. It depends on your mind. So of course, due to ignorance, everything appears to be outside of your mind, and your mind seems to be a reaction to the appearances that happen. That's samsara. It's very deep, and it takes training to constantly say, no, it's my mind. If I change my mind, the external will change. So those men didn't turn into like light, fluffy angels who are going to bake you a cake. They're still like very sort of wrathful, combustible, challenging beings. But now it's like a thrill. It's like, well, maybe they're enlightened and they're appearing that way. And if you really conceive it, not just your thinking, that's the training. The training is you're having to work and use your mind, even though you're feeling something different. But when you get some sense of that, you can train your mind, use the language, it can change your feelings. And when your feelings just change, even for a few seconds, you just get any sense, these are enlightened beings, it changes, everything changes. Maybe we can't hold on to it for very long, but we can understand the truth of it. That if I do change my conceptions, the appearances change. And the more and more we're just training in divine conception, everything is pure, everything is enlightened, everything is divine. The more it starts to appear like that. And then Allah is how you perceive him to be. The world is as you perceive it to be. The sadhanas, the practices, are the methods to change your mind into the most beautiful ways to perceive. When you really start to understand it, then you run to practice. This is the way to be happy. This is what I've been searching for my whole life. We understand that takes time, and the power it has is connected to, say, the practices on purification, the practices on merit, which is good character, practicing giving, practicing love, and just falling in love with the divine. That's what we're training, falling in love with the divine. So as I say, what is your partner like when you're deeply in love? How do they appear? What will this world be like when you've just got nothing but love for it? Then you're in the Pure Land. It's not independent of your mind. So I hope that's helpful in some way. Thank you for sharing. Peace be upon you, and may God bless you.